start off by giving our praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakahakdash. Give honors to my elders and apostles and PMS for teaching us the hundreds in truth. And Shalom to you for Hakim, that's believing the truth, pushing the truth throughout the four corners, using your body as a sacrifice to you. I say, hey, Shalom. And Shalom to you, very few Akbach that's listening and learning, the quietness. And Shalom to me, the elect children as well, the elect lady and elect children. You know, this is your brother Ahmad from PMS City. Lord willing, coming back with an edifying video. I pray this is edifying, man. You know, I was talking to my bro about this video earlier, brother Azaria from PMS Orlando, and I was like, damn, that was spirit. I mean, I had this video here for probably like, I had this video now for probably 3 or 4 weeks, but I, Jake got some time to get around to it, so pretty much sacrificing the time. I know it's pretty late, but I titled this one, Woman Died and Saw That She Completely Failed Her Pre-Birth Plan. And before we jump into it, I'm going to start off with these precepts, and, we'll jump right into the video because this is going to be a long video. Let you know right up front. But I want you to listen to what's coming out of her mouth because, hey, it's the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, and it's a message that she was sent back, right, from the spiritual realm. The Lord sent her back, to get this message out. So, hey, we're going to get the message out because that's what Yahweh Shem Shai wants the message out. So, we're going to start off with my first precept here. And, because this is something that we've been stressing and we tell Jakes all the time. This is Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It says, the thing that have been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. See? Whatever ain't. What's going to be is what's going to be. It ain't nothing new. No new things under the sun. Not even you. I'll say it again. Not even you or any newbies that's watching. You're not even new. We tell you all the time, it's not your first time on earth. You die, you go back to spiritual realm, the Lord send you back every 3rd or 4th generation through this, send you back through the seed line of your father, man. You come back every 3rd and 4th generation. It says, verse 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It have been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things. There's no remembrance of your former things, man. There's no memories of your past lives. There's no memories. Because you gotta understand, if you was able to remember all of those past lives in the life that you in now, you will be tossed to and from. You will want to kill yourself. You will know that, hey, some of you will know that you are those ones that was rebellious. You are those ones that died in the flood. You are the ones that was inside of Gomorrah. But the Lord said, my word going to go out and it can't come back void. The Lord, put everything on himself. So the word is going to go forward, whether you believe it or not. And that's what's happening. Yahweh and Yahweh Shai's word is going forward, and that word go forward in actions through his spirits, the spirits that he created, man. You see that on everything that Yahweh Shai said, you see the words turn into physical through creation. What's created, man. So we know, that Yahweh Shai is not a lie, man. So anyway, it says there is no remembrance of former things, neither should there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. That's one. Let's get my second one. This is Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. This is why the Holy Bible, right? The script, the holy means separate. This is why the Bible is separate. It's separate uh, from these heathens and all their different philosophies and books. The Holy Bible is our book, man, and we're the holy people, so we're separate from them, man. We're we don't we don't have to follow after the so-called white man and these other heathen nations' ways and philosophies, man. The book, the King James 1611 Bible, right? The Holy Bible was written for our learning, for the 12 tribes, for you so-called blacks, Native Americans, so-called Haitians, Jamaicans, Latinos, Dominicans. The book was written for our learning, man. So we'll know what to do and what not to do against our power, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. The name is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, man. The name of the Father is Yahweh, and the name of the Son is Yahweh Shai. The Lord also, the book was written for our learning to know these names as well. Now, yes, they done tampered with the books and did this and did that, but this is why the Lord has sent back his prophets to give you the understanding, to give you the knowledge of their ways, man, to give you what you need far as for salvation's sake, to give you what you need far as to balance yourself out while you're in captivity, while you're in Babylon, to give you the hope and the patience that you need to hold on and still push until Yahweh sends Yahweh Shai to pull up. This is why the book is written for our learning, man. That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. That's what the King James 1611 Bible was written for. Through patience, right? So for comfort, to have hope of everything that we're reading, the Lord is physically showing us signs that they're doing it. You know, the Lord is physically showing the signs that, hey, this is about you. And I'm talking to you and you only. And I'm going to come pull up on you, you elect. And you 2/3, you're going to die on this end. But you're going to come back in the kingdom in your right mind. So this is why this book, the King James 1611, is very important. You know? Let's jump to this other one. And y'all, you just bear with me. I'm just going through these precepts because when the video play, I don't really want to interrupt it. I want her to get it everything out. So I'm pretty much starting off getting the precepts popped off, man. This is another one. Get this, so you Jakes or no, man, you newbies that come by and watch, and Lord willing, you get edified, man. Right here it says Romans 9:26, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there should they be called the children of the living God. Right. Look where we are, man. We was told right here in Babylon that we are not the children. We're not the holy children. We're not the Lord's chosen children, man. We're not the apple of the eye. Right here, where we're also finding out we are. Why? How? Through his men, the Lord has sent back Albert Bivens, which was Elijah, which was John, right? To give us this good news passed down to our fathers and big uncles, our spiritual uncles today, which is, the Apostle Tahar and apostles on down, and the bishops on down, the brothers on down, man. The Lord has put the Spirit on them to give us this good news, man. To understand that, guess what? You, who's been feeling like the black sheep, you that's been told you're nothing but spicks, wetback spicks, monkeys, porch monkeys, all this stuff. No, you're the chosen people. You are the people that the Lord is concerned about. You are the ones that the Lord have created in his image. Romans 9:26 again, it says, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, right? You so-called blacks, Native Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, Jamaicans, Haitians, right? There should they be called children of the living God. And there's another one, and then we're going to jump right into this video. This is Baruch 2:30. It says, for I know that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. Same thing the Lord told Ezekiel in chapter, what, 2 and 3? You know, if I'm not mistaken, that, hey, the 12 tribes of Israel, they're stiff-necked people, man. You know, they stiff-necked, hard-hearted. They don't like to listen. It says, for I know that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. In the land of our captivity, the Lord is allowing us to remember who we are. The Lord is allowing us to remember that, guess what? This ain't your only time you've been on the earth. This ain't your first time here. This ain't, hey, you are the chosen people. You were there in all these ancient histories and the stories in the books of the King James when Moses gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. You were there. This is you. We remembering that. Hey, wait a minute. That was us. Yes, this was the Lord was talking, dealing with us. Amos 3:1. The Lord said, I only known you. I don't know no other nations. I only dwell with you. I'm only your power. The other 17 heathen nations, they are just like the scriptures say, a spittle. They just spit. The Lord don't care about them. Right? It says, for I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves and shall know that I am the Lord their God. For I will give them a heart and ears to hear. And the Lord has done that to the elect, man, on this end. The Lord has given the elect the heart and the ears to hear these words, to understand the sayings of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, right? Who the word calls God and Jesus Christ. The Lord has given us the understanding and the ears to constantly continue to hear it, man. That's a blessing. We're in captivity, remembering ourselves. It says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. And that's what the elect is doing. We're praising Yahweh and Yahweh Shai in our captivity because the Lord has gave us that wake-up call. The Lord has given us that truth back in our spirits and planted. The Lord has given us their names and programmed it right back in our spirit, and we're remembering ourselves, we're remembering our customs, we're remembering talking in Hebrew, we're remembering that this ain't the only lives. We're remembering that we know we're gonna lose loved ones, but we know we're gonna see them again. We remembering that, guess what? The Lord has allowed us to know these words, to know that, guess what? We're gonna get the new bodies. You're going to live for everlasting, man. These are the things that the Lord has allowed us to remember. These are things that they don't teach you in church, man. You only get those prosperity doctrines, man. The Lord is given in captivity. The Lord has given us remembrance of who we are. There was a time when the Lord turned his face on us, man. No one knew nothing. You only knew what was passed down. 1044, you only knew what was passed down through the philosophies of the so-called white man, through your grandfathers, your great uncles, and they was bishops and deacons and pastors, and they passed and brainwashed you with the same philosophies that the so-called white man taught them to teach you, and which is still happening to this day. But the Lord is even beating that down. The Lord is destroying these church houses, man. People don't want to be in the church houses no more. They're losing their numbers because people want the truth. People want the answers. And the Lord has sent back his prophets to tell his people, right, his children, the answers, to give them peace, to give them ears to hear, man. And it says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name and return from their stiff neck, right, and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord, man. And the Lord has allowed the elect to remember these things, man. The Lord has allowed the elect to not be stiff-necked, to turn from their wicked deeds, to put off, the wicked man, that wicked woman, constantly praying, repenting day by day, man. The Lord has allowed us to do these things. So this is why we're grateful, and it's an honor, man, to understand in so-called 2026 to be in Babylon, aka America, right? To understand that the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai and what they feel about their people, man. It's very important. So anyway, that's that. we're going to jump right here into this video because it's going to be pretty long. And I want you to listen to this sister's testimony because this is a beautiful video. And I said I'm not going to go to bed until I get this video done. So I pray that this video is edifying. So on the screen here, you see it says, I died and saw that I completely felt my pre-birth plan, you know? So, and it's by the Love Covered Life podcast. So we're gonna jump right into it, man. We're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna play her testimony. Let's get it.
Come around a corner, and as I come around a corner, I could see the end of the tunnel. And at the end of the tunnel, there was this amazing velocity of white light. And again, the thought in my head, because I'm processing, the thought in my head was, if I survive this, I'll probably lose my sight. Because you know how we say you should not look up at the sun? Well, the light before me was infinitely more intensive than the sun. And then I merged. I exited the tunnel. I merged with the light. And I know this sounds kind of lame, but there are really, really no words in any language to explain what it feels like when we merge with light. It was this most exhilarating feeling, this most peaceful feeling. And I was very aware that I had become love. I was very aware, instantly aware, that light and love is the same particle. And I was acutely aware that I had merged with this light and I had become love. And then the next thought in my head, well, how does one get around in this environment? And no sooner than I asked the question in my mind, I began to move. And I moved and I traveled in this intensity of light and feeling this intense feeling of love. And I stopped at a what would have been a vast TV screen. I mean, today we have large TV screens. In the 60s, we didn't. It was the largest TV screen I'd ever seen in my life. I still haven't seen one as big. We stopped at the screen and the screen lit up. And when the screen lit up, I began to process the 26 years that I had just lived before I entered this state. The screen had 3 columns. On the left was my life as I had planned it just before I was born. And what it is that I was intending to accomplish when I got to Earth. The middle column were all the conditions that came to me during my 26 years of life in order to help me accomplish what I had planned. And then there was this third column, which I just burst out in laughter because the third column looked as though someone had created a stamp. And the stamp said, objective not accomplished, objective not accomplished, objective not accomplished. So I'm moving my head from the left-hand column of what was planned to the circumstances that came into my life that should have helped me to accomplish what I came to accomplish. But instead, I had other ideas in my head about what it is I wanted to accomplish in this earthly life, you see. And so therefore, these laudable ideals were not being met. And therefore, this stamp, as I looked at objectives number 1, number 2, number 3, it was this stamp on the right hand said, objective not accomplished. And then I think the screen moved. And when it moved now, I'm like watching the screen of my life, how I had lived it. And, I had gotten married at 19 and went to England. We left, I was born in Guyana, South America. We left South America and traveled to England with the intention of getting a better life and getting an education. And it seems as though we were in the middle of accomplishing that, but I had adopted all of the first world objectives. You got to have money, you got to be rich, you got to, you have to accumulate stuff. that will speak to what you think is your identity. And I'm watching this as this screen is scrolling very slowly. And I'm looking at the objectives that were set, and I'm like, how could I have been so stupid? I spent my energy and my time accumulating stuff that had nothing to do with the plan that I came with.
Hey, right. Because a lot of you Jakes don't, you 2/3 Jakes, man, you don't understand that a lot of you Jakes are dying without the knowledge, man. And this is what she's going into. She's telling you what happened when she passed. I think she said she passed at 26. She was like out of it. She was out of her body. And the Lord showed her 3 screens. This is what she's going into. Lord showed her 3 screens of her, like she said, a life that she had planned and what was already destined for her and all this, right? And she's going to go into it more and more. Just keep listening. I'm not really trying to interrupt as much, but I just want to stop in right there and give that. As a matter of fact, let me get these couple of precepts right here, and then we're going to go right back into it. Because this is beautiful. And please, if the Lord allow you to stay, just listen to this lady, man. And she's going to say something very beautiful at the end. And this is how we know that Yahweh Shem Shai, hey, Yahweh Shem Shai is real, man. These ain't jokes. Where is it at? I want to get this. Because she said something about choosing her path and all that, which we know. Hey, let me get this. We're going to hit it with this one first, and we get these other 3. Proverbs 2:23, it says, man's goings, right, are of Yahweh. That's all caps. When you see Lord in all caps, that's the Father's name for any newbies. Yahweh. It says, how can a man then understand his own way? Right? So, hey, it says, a man's goings is of the Lord. Your goings is of the Lord. You know, your steps, like the song they sing in church, order my steps in your word, teach me, guide me. Hey, all that, Jakes don't even realize, even singing that song, the Lord put the Spirit on you to sing that to him, man. You know? Oh, matter of fact, hold on. Dang, you know, I knew this was going to happen. The Spirit just do that sometimes. You can't help it, but you got to be obedient. Proverbs 16:1, it says, the preparation of the heart in man and the answering of the tongue is from Yahweh. So see, the preparation of your heart, right? Because it tells you in Job 33:15, you get sealed with instruction what you're going to do the very next day, right? And it says the answer of the tongue, your tongue, even what you're speaking, what you hear me speaking now, right? The Lord ordained this. The Lord put this in my spirit to say what I'm saying. So this all comes through by Yahweh Shem Shai. Now, let's get these other precepts. We'll knock these out the way, and then we're gonna go back to the video. This is beautiful. This is a lot that she's going into. Now, Lord willing, you get edified, man. It's a lot that she goes into. This is Ecclesiastes 6:10 in the NLT. Look, see, the future determined and unknown. It says everything has already been decided. It was known long ago what each person would be, so there's no use arguing with God about your destiny. So it was known long ago, man. Everything has already been decided. Your whole life was already written out. You know, your whole life was already written out. Everything has already been decided. That's what you slow belly Jakes don't understand, man. You so-called Christians, this is what you don't understand, because a lot of you walk around and you think that you got free will. There's no such thing as free will. Your whole life was already written out before you touched this planet Earth, man. Your whole life was already set up and signed, what you was going to go through, who you was going to be with, if you're going to get married, if you're going to have children, if you was going to die by a heart attack, a stroke, a car accident, shot up, whatever it is, man. Hey, it was written out for you that way. This is Isaiah 46:10 in the NLT. Only I can tell you the future before it even happens. Everything I plan will come to pass, for I do whatever I wish. So, hey, the Lord can only tell you your future, man. And that's what happens. Because it tells you that in Corinthians, hey, when you die, you appear right there at the throne, man, in front of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And the Lord, hey, telling you, boom, 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 what you did and show you all this. And then you give in a white robe, you go rest for a minute, and then eventually you got to come back and play out your judgment on earth. And you come back, but see, when you come into the earth, you don't remember the conversation of what you had with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. because nothing can go outside of the will. Nothing can go outside of what is written. So this is why we tell you, Jakes, as the scripture says, some awaken. Let me get that right quick. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see. Some awaken. I think that's how I go. Yeah. Yes, sir, ski. Yes, sir, ski. Yeah, let's get this right quick. This is come on, baby, no excellent. This is Daniel 12:2. It says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, right? And the dust go into confusion. So many that sit here and on earth, right? Many of you that sent back on earth, you're in a great big confusion. But then when the Lord tells you about yourself through his prophets, right? Which are men, not women, which are men, it says, some to everlasting life. Well, let me start over. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, right? So a lot of Jakes are waking up. They're understanding who they are. You've been told, oh, we're the Hebrew Israelites. But not all of them, hey, many are called, but few are chosen. And Jakes naturally have a zeal, but they don't have the 100% truth, the 100% zeal of Yahweh Shan Shai. It says some to everlasting life and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So some of the Jakes that's going to wake up on this end, it's going to be an everlasting life, and some of you it's going to be an everlasting shame, man. Some for shame and everlasting contempt, as the scripture says. So some of you Jakes that waking up and they take this word, abuse it, put off day to day, take the hand from the plow, go back into the world. That's a shame, man. But at the end of the day, we're remembering who we are and who we come from and what we are, man. And that's very important. That is very important. I didn't mean to press that. Let me get this too. And we're gonna go back into the video. And y'all Salaki, forgive me, man. Jake get excited. Did I get this already? Come on, baby. Okay. Going back into the Lord knowing every last one of his creations, right? The Lord know you, man. This is Jeremiah 1:5. This is what I was telling Jeremiah, but it's not just Jeremiah, every last one of you, right? It says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. Before you was even in your mother's womb, you was a spirit, you were a spirit in the heavens, right? And it says, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations, right? So whatever you are, as the scripture said, whatever you are in your past life, like if you was a prophet, you're going to come back as a prophet. If you was a sodomite, you're going to come back as a sodomite, right? If you was an adulterer, you're going to come back as an adulterer, man. All these things, man, there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. Everything has already been. And it's continuing, man. So anyway, now, jump back into the video.
As I'm looking at that, I could see why I attracted the people I attracted into my life. Some of whom were very positive and very loving and very caring. Others were there as challenges. And one of the most amazing thing about that is particular one person in my life who I considered very negative at the time and very challenging was really someone who really lived with me in another lifetime, loved me dearly, and figured out that love was never going to allow me to get it. So in this lifetime, that person made a determination that they would devote their life to irritating me, to finally get me to where I needed to be. So it was very interesting, and I observed the 26 years. One of the things that stood out for me was prayer, because I was raised in a very Christian, deeply Christian environment, and I was taught how to pray. But now I'm looking at this review and I'm thinking, they only taught me how to tell God what I want. Nobody really emphasized that I needed to be asking God to fulfill my destiny. You see what I mean? So then I'm asking the question, but prayer has two sides to it. There is the asking, and there is the silence. So we could listen. But then it occurred to me that my religious upbringing did not teach me about meditation and contemplation and being silent before God.
See that? And this is why we tell you, stay out of them harlot houses. Because she's right. They don't teach you about when you pray, okay, wait, you don't have to keep repeating the same prayers, man. You know? Hey, just wait. The Lord, in due time, whatever that is, if it's in righteousness, if it's not nothing wicked, if it's something like vibration of the world, man, the Lord ain't worried about that. The Lord is going to give you enough what you need to continue until Yahweh Shah pull up. Or, to continue for some of you 2/3 till the Lord put you to death, man. The Lord can give you riches, but what's the point of being rich in your enemy's kingdom? Don't make sense.
So now I'm asking the question, who in the world taught me how to pray? Because what they taught me was only one side of the image. And then, of course, what sprang up were the different institutions and people in those institutions who were kind of responsible from Bible study to whatever. And I'm thinking, but they did not teach the entire concept.
See? You false prophets. See? The Lord was showing her all this. In heaven. He was showing her this. The false prophets in these churches. You ain't teaching 100% truth. You are lying. You are robbing the sheep. And the Lord is telling you, false prophets in Ezekiel 34? Hey, the Lord is going to pay you all back, man. All these lies and different philosophies, the philosophies of the so-called white man that you push under them 501c3s, the Lord is going to checkmate a lot of you false prophets. And even those in the fold that know they're Hebrew Israelite, that know the name of the Lord, but advertise and benefit themselves and feed their own lucre bellies, man. Lord going to deal with you too.
So the screen comes to an end. But while I was on that screen, I discovered that you can't get paid twice for anything in this world. That we pray and we ask for what it is that we need. And if when we get it, we use it so that we can make money or the world's compensation, then we've got what we asked for. We can't expect to get a blessing for something that you're doing for which you're being paid. And that it's the things that we do, that smile that we flash that is full of light. It's the things that we do voluntarily and without compensation that really brings the blessings into our lives. And the screen came to a stop.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Block it for the freaking commercials. As soon as you said stop, you get commercials.
And I was one of those young people living this Christian life with a lot of questions from the Bible. Yep. At age 9, 10, 12, I had these phenomenal questions. And so the one question that popped into my mind, now I'm standing there, the screen is completely blank. And the question that popped into my mind was, he, meaning Christ, said, I came so you can have life and have it more fully. What did he mean by that? And no sooner I asked that question, the screen began to re-scroll. And now I am at the Akashic record. At that time, I did not know what it was, which is the record of everything that has happened, everything that has a potential to manifest itself into the world. And I'm now looking at the Akashic record, and now they have taken 6 past lives and dumped it into the one that I just reviewed. And the screen starts to re-scroll, and now it's a whole different review. I am looking at myself, living in times when there was darkness on the earth, and people walked around with torches. I watched myself as a woman and what it meant to be a woman in those days, and there was war between the tribes.
Ooh! Are you listening to what's coming out, man? Are you listening? These ain't jokes.
And they decided that they will take the women and put them in small boats and put them out to sea because they were losing the war, and they were afraid that if the women got killed, there would be no way of generating new life.
Bringing them back. Yep.
When they put us on small boats and put us out to sea.
Hey, because the man carries the seed, and you women are the soil. So for a man's generation to continue, he needs the soil. He needs a wife. And if they kill and the woman kill, who gonna come back? Who what? This is why we be telling you women, man, when you understand your heritage, when you understand your history, and understand like what we was doing then to now, man, it's crazy. It's wicked. Listen to her. She gonna go into it.
And most of us, including myself, drowned.
Wind it back a little bit.
They decided that they will take the women and put them in small boats and put them out to sea because they were losing the war, and they were afraid that if the women got killed, there would be no way of generating new life. When they put us on small boats and put us out to sea, and most of us, including myself, drowned. And in this lifetime, I've really, really had some love to be in the ocean, etc., but fear. And I'm now working through that fear. I saw myself at when they pulled Moses out of the bulrushes. I was one of the women who was present at that time. I saw myself living dire poverty.
You heard what she said? Are you listening to what I'm telling you? Hey, and this ain't the regular, everything is the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. I just read to you, in the land of your captivity, you're going to remember who you are, man. Matter of fact, I have it pulled up here? Because there was a time that Jake, we knew about reincarnation. You know, there was a time that Jake's knew about a reincarnation, man. We knew, you know. You just, in this captivity, you got over here and you forgot, but the Lord is allowing us to remember. This is it's a quick hit. Matthew 16 and 13. It says when Yahweh Shai, you know, it says Jesus, but we know Jesus is not the name. When Yahweh Shai came into the cross of Caesarea, Philippi, I hope I said that right. If I didn't, forgive me. He asked his disciples, right? It says he asked his disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" Why would they ask Philip, right? I said Philip. Why would they ask the disciples, hey, who that man is? Why would Jake say that? Why would Jake say, hey, who's that man? Who he's supposed to be back in the this is what this is going into. They're saying, who is that person supposed to be? Who is that back in the reincarnation? And this is what they answer. It says, and they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist. See? So someone was saying like, hey, they thinking that you, Yahweh Shai, they thinking that you are John the Baptist. Because there was a time where we knew about reincarnation, man. We knew that, hey, when you die, you're going to come back every third and fourth generation. There was a time we knew this, man, heavily. Jakes knew this, man. Only here in this Babylon, right? This Babylon that Jakes forgot. But even though you forgot, it's being told to you. Even though you don't believe, it is being told to you, as it tells you in Habakkuk 1 and 5, that, hey, reincarnation is real, man. It says, and they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elijah, which, hey, and others Jeremiah, which is Jeremiah, are one of the prophets. So this is going into how, hey, there was a time that, hey, Jakes knew about reincarnation. There's nothing new under the sun, man. You just over here, you thinking, oh, when you die, you live right, you believe on them Jesus, you go to heaven. If you don't do nothing and you don't repent, you're gonna go to hell. There's no such thing as hell, man. It ain't no such thing as hell. And she gonna tell you that too. Just keep listening. Keep listening. She gonna tell you in the video. And let me finish it up. And Simon Peter answered and said, he said, unto them, but who say ye that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art Mashiach, the Son of the living God. And this is the point. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon, or Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee. Flesh and blood cannot reveal the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Shai, the understanding, the knowing what we know, how I'm able to tell you. Flesh and blood can't give you this. This is why we tell you false prophets, man. You freaking pastors, you don't have the spirit. You the Holy Ghost. You don't have the Holy Spirit, man. You don't understand nothing because you operate in flesh and blood. You operate under the philosophies of the so-called white man. It says, flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. So the Lord got to give you the wax off, man. The Lord got to give you the understanding. You got to be chosen. John 15 and 16. You can't just call. You got to be chosen to do this, man. You got to be chosen to be given the understanding, man. Even though it's told to you, you got to be chosen. No matter what you think. Now, back to the video.
I mean, hunger. And you see, when you're reviewing this thing, you're experiencing it. You're experiencing the hunger. You're experiencing the fear, you know. And then I saw myself as of course, I had the experience of being very poor. I also had the experience of being wealthy. It's all balanced. But I think the one that really, when I left, it took a while for me to be able to process, was I saw myself as a child, a Black child in the cotton fields picking cotton besides my mother. And I could feel the pounding of the hoof of the master man on the horse.
Yep.
I can hear every time that whip goes out, because if you can't keep up your quota, you're whipped, you see. And I know that I'm a child, and the fear that I feel, but when the master man gets to me, I'll be whipped because I'm a child. I can't keep up with the quota. And then the screen moves to another lifetime. And guess what, Melissa? I am the white man on the horse, flipping the whip in the cotton fields. We live it all. We live it all. There's no need to point fingers. And I reviewed the seven lifetimes and how they have affected the choices that I made in coming to Earth this time around. And the screen came to an end. And when the screen came to an end, again, by thinking, and I teach this a lot these days, what you think is what you become. The energy that you're following in the world is the energy that you will attract onto you. So I began to ask the question, well, how does one move around in this environment, and what more is there to see? And I started moving. And I came to a river. When I was a child in Sunday school, we sang the little hymn, Yes, we will gather by the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river, flows from the throne of God. And there I was at the river. On the other side of the river were hundreds of souls. And I knew that during many lifetimes I had lived and interacted with them, but we had something in common. And the something that we had in common was this thing called love. And they're on the other side of this river, and they're beaming this phenomenal amount of love. And as they beam the love to me, I can see that love turns into light. And so they're beaming all this amazing amount of light to me. And then my aunt, who was the most recent person who had died in my family, she stepped into the water and indicated to me to come. So I stepped into the water and I'm moving towards her and she's moving towards me. And then just as we're getting ready to that spot where we can hug each other, she stopped and she looked at me and she says, I'm so sorry, but they're sending you back. And I said, why? I don't want to go back. And she says, no, they're sending you back. And I said, why? And she says, well, they want to send you back with a message. And I said, millions of people back there. They can find someone there. And
Hey, and I think your name is Norma Edwards. Your message was heard, man. You know, hey, the message was heard. You know, the Lord made you come back, allowed me to come across this video so I can put it out there to the hopeful elect, and the hopeful elect can see it, and you can see, just to give you, just to edify in your body, man, to give you more hope and peace and comfort that, hey, the very things that we're reading about, the very things that we're saying, the very things that we're making these videos on, man, is real. It is real, man. These ain't jokes. We believe, like Scripture said, we know the God that we worship, man. So the message was heard.
give that person the message. You see what I mean? And they said, no, it's a message we'd like for you to take back with you.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
Damn commercials. Can't nothing about this bullshit.
There is more to life than meets the eye, and life is eternal. Now, with that piece of instruction, I suddenly found myself falling. I mean, I can experience the falling. And the moment when I crashed into my body, even though I was under heavy anesthesia, I felt the incredible pain. And it was like moving from this place of extreme love and joy and happiness and peace, and then to instantly hit the body. Excruciating pain. And that led to 3 years of serious depression because I did not want to be here. I wanted to be able to return to that place where I had experienced such amazing love and purity and joy, and where you asked the question and you got the answer in a knowingness, not necessarily with words, but in a knowingness. Now I crashed back into my body. They had me in a small room in the hospital, and they had 2 nurses sitting at a table who were supposed to be observing an observation. And I opened my eyes and discovered that all of my senses had become enhanced. And these 2 young nurses were sitting at a table, and they were working with bandages or something. Their hands were moving. But they had a radio between them, and the radio was playing classical music very, very softly. And I could hear the music, and I opened my eyes, and now I can see the notes. Every note is tied to a color. Every color is tied to a mathematical symbol. And I'm watching the light, the amazing light of the different notes and the different frequencies and how it's interacting one with the other. And these 2 young women sitting at the table are being totally unconscious of the fact that they're absorbing all this beautiful energy. And then I think 2 male medical people came along, and they're interacting with these 2 females. And again, I can see this amazing light that they're consuming, body's consuming it, but they're totally unaware. I want to say something, but I can't because I've got this thing in my throat, you see, I can't speak. And then the two medical guys left, and the 2 young ladies began to discuss. Apparently, they both attended the same church. And on Sunday, one worked and could not go to church, and the other one went to church. So now the one who went to church is describing the sermon that was preached. And the sermon had to do with hell. I want to scream at this woman that's not true. There's no such thing as hell.
Wait, did you hear that? They want that back. Want that back.
Sermon that was preached. And the sermon had to do with hell. I want to scream at this woman that's not true. There's no such thing as hell. Let me tell you.
Let's wind that back one more time. I want you, Jakes. Hey, I want you, slow belly Jakes, man. I want you, Christians. Listen, man. You better get out them harlot houses. You better get out them churches, man. They are robbing you. They're not telling you the truth. This is why you keep going back and forth. You don't know what's going on. You don't know your left from the right. Get out of them church houses, man. They're not helping you. They help killing you, man. They help keeping you dead, man. Listen again.
Describing the sermon that was preached. And the sermon had to do with hell. I want to scream at this woman that that's not true. There's no such thing as hell. Let me tell you about what it's like on the other side. But of course, I can't speak because I've got this trachea in my throat, you see. And so I'm listening to this, and then suddenly dawned on me, but normal.
It wasn't the time.
So it was a clock, you see. It's normal. Less than 24 hours ago, that's what you believe. What could have happened to you that your belief system has just completely changed?
And just like that. Hey, this is why we telling you, man. The Lord can flick that switch just like that, man. The Lord can just, all of a sudden you wasn't believing, you were going to church, you were doing this and doing that, and the Lord can change your mindset just like that. Change your spirit up just like that. Call your number just like that. Like she said, just 24 hours ago, she was believing in hell and all that. Now, just from the accountants of near death, she don't believe in that shit no more. Because what the Lord showed her. The Lord showed her past lives. She's seen 7 past lives. The Lord showed her 7 past lives, man. Come on, man. Man don't get any better than that, man. That's fire, bro. That's fire.
24 hours ago, that's what you believe. What could have happened to you that your belief system has just completely changed? And the journey began. My Hindu rescuer, I was hospitalized for 9 days, and she came every single lunchtime and she sat with me. And out of that became a beautiful friendship. But we both agreed that since she was very, very much Hindu and I was very, very much Christian, we agreed that we would never talk about religion so that this friendship could develop. And that allowed me to walk beside a deeply religious Hindu woman and observe their practices. And she got to observe mine. The journey home from the hospital was very interesting because once I got out into the open, I realized I could see the leaves and the trees and the energy and the light that they generated. I could look at the tree and see all the way down into the roots and how it pulled the energy from the earth all the way up to the top of the tree to give to us oxygen. So my sight had been enhanced. The other thing that was enhanced was light bulbs just went out all around me. If I was walking on the street lights, the bulbs would blow. Electronic equipment would malfunction around me. It took quite a while to be able to adjust that and to manage that. But it started a whole new way of experiencing life. Experienced 3 years of serious depression because I did not want to return. And I had no way of knowing how I could re-enter this beautiful, beautiful space that I had experienced. That's what drew the 8 teachers into my life. So that eventually I was able to get out of my body and travel dimensionally. Now, I did not speak about my experience for 15 years because in 6s, you didn't go around. There was no name for it. And I was very acutely aware that if I talked about it, they'd probably put me in a mental institution. So I did not speak about it 15 years until my mother was dying. When my mother was dying, I wanted her to know that she was going to a beautiful place and that there was no need for fear. And for the very first time, I shared it with my mother. And then soon after both my mother and father passed, we came to the United States of America and I began the journey of ordination. And I was doing internship at New York Avenue Presbyterian Church in Washington, D.C. And the senior pastor came in one day with this book and he was very angry. He opened the trash, he put the book in the trash. And I said, well, why would you do that? And he said, well, that some fool wrote this book about having a near-death experience and living. And my eyes lit up. He went upstairs and I dived into the Crash, and I pulled the book out, you see, and I started reading it. And I went to him and I said, he's not lying. I had the same experience. And then it was the New York Avenue Presbyterian Church that encouraged me to speak about my near-death experience.
This is a question that a lot of people have. Maybe you have a perspective on this. Why is it that we can't remember what we planned for our lives when we get here? And it seems to be so easy for us to get off track.
Earth is a very low vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And we have descended into a low vibration. To help you to understand that, think about having an old-fashioned radio. You know, those little old-fashioned radios. And it was very, very limited in bandwidth, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And so if you wanted, like, for example, I was born and raised in Guyana, South America, a third world country at the time. If you wanted to catch a station in England or America, it was almost impossible. There wasn't enough bandwidth and the frequency was too low to be able to connect to that level. Got that? Now, when we are born, because since then I have had the opportunity to actually watch my last child design his lifetime while he was in spirit, put the plan in place, then get born. And my youngest child is now 35 years of age, and I have watched him live exactly what he planned, right out to him getting married last year. We drink the cup of forgetfulness when we are about to be born, because if we don't, all that information will be in the way. You see, and we take it for granted that we can use our hands, we can use our minds, we can walk, we can talk. But that's phenomenal stuff that we have to relearn once we enter the earth. So we drink the cup of forgetfulness so we can master the things that we have to master. For example, while we are still babies in the womb, we have to master the art of building bones. If I'm walking with all that memory, I mean, I only saw 7 lifetimes. If I'm walking with all that memory in my head, it would distract me from the basic things that have to be.
Hey, and that's why the Lord don't send you back with the mindset of all the lifespans of you touching down. Because then nothing would be fulfilled. Everything would be out of order, man. People would just be killing themselves. You'd be out of it, man. You'd be hurt, pain, and the Lord don't want that, man. You know what I'm saying? Man, hey, this is fire. It's fire.
Accomplished in order to live on Mother Earth. And so we file it away at different levels. Some of it has been filed in the super consciousness level, where if we build our vibration, follow me, and we build a vibration higher, then we can access that information. If we do nothing about lifting the vibration.
Hey, you really can't do nothing, really. It's all up to y'all by sharing a shot. You know what I'm saying? Right. Hey, the brother posted it up, man. Hey, you got to go back and watch from the beginning. I did the video, bro. You know, I did the video. This the video, man. This is the video. This lady was telling you. She told you, hey, the Lord showed her seven lifetimes. He showed her 7 he showed her 7 of her lifespan, man. Seven of them. She said she was there when they pulled Moses out the bush. She said she was one of them there. So, hey, this ain't coincidence. Hey, we all was there. When Moses gave the laws and statute commandments, you know, we was there. This is what we tell you, Jakes, man. We were there. When we say we would do what Yahweh and Yahweh Shai instructed, we was there. You just don't have no memory. You don't have no remembrance of it, but you were there. Because like she just said at the end of this video, if you in this world and you walking with all them different lifespans, and she said, she was only showing 7. And you trying to do what Yahweh Shai instructed, but you got all them different lifespans in your head. You gonna be so distracted. What are my old wives I was messing with? Where my children at? Where that dog at? Where that house was at? My old body, where was I buried at? Where was I set on fire at? You can't have all that stuff in your mind when the Lord wants what he wants done, man. That's why I read that precept. Now, where is it? Um, where is it at? Right here. That's why I read the precept, man. This is why I read this earlier when I started off the video. Um, Ecclesiastes 6 and 10, the NLT. Everything has already been decided. It's already decided, man. Before you touch down on earth, your whole life was already written out. Matter of fact, when you read the scriptures, it always say, as it is written. As it is written. Wait a minute. Don't let that go over your head. As it is written. Stop, Jake. Just slow down. It's already written. It's already done. This is why you hear us say you're living in a movie, man. Your story, everything on this earth is already written. Everything has already been decided. It was no long ago what each person would be, what they gonna do, what they gonna think, what they gonna say, who they gonna be, who they gonna be with, what's gonna happen to them. It was already known. So there's no use arguing with God about your destiny, man. You can't argue with your about hey, how he created you, why he created you the way he created you, why he put you with what he put you with. You know what I'm saying? You can't argue, man. Because everything is for the truth's sake. Everything is about Yahweh and Yahweh Shai's word fulfilling itself, man. You don't understand that the Lord, he bid it on his own name. He bid it on his own self, man. The word gonna go out. It's not gonna come back. Boy, and I didn't even say bid, it's lucky. I'm saying bid, but the Lord put his name on the line, man. You know how big, and you know how, and that's how we tell men, like, integrity. I pray I'm saying it right. Integrity. When you say you're gonna do something, you do it, man. That's from ancient customs. That's what we was known to do. If you say you're gonna do something, man, you gotta honor them words, man. You don't just put off, or you don't. Are you up for God? You just a lip servant, man. No, we come from a time of when you said something. When men said something, we stood on it, man. When you women, when you got married to your Lord, which is your husband, you stood by that, man. You knew what was the time it was. And see now, what you're seeing now, all you women, when you was married back then, and you had them lustful thoughts, if I can be with that man, I would be with that man. He looked good. You was with a man in the Lord. Now the Lord, you don't realize the Lord brought you back to earth to operate and play that out. These ain't jokes, man. These ain't jokes. That's how we telling you. Ecclesiastes, shout out to I came on the comment board. Let's post it all up. Ecclesiastes 1:11. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. You know? So brother put the same thing. So there's no remembrance, man. And she just gave a whole mouthful. That's why I let it all play. How long is I've been going an hour and 3 minutes, right? I let it all play because she hit all angles. She hit reincarnation. She hit there's no such thing as hell, right? She hit, her 7 lifespans, all that. She hit she went into spiritual powers. And she said when she dropped back in her body, she was able to see the roots and how they draw power into the roots of the tree, right? To give us oxygen in the air, man. She'll walk past lights and lights will explode. That's spiritual power, man. You think we just be saying spiritual power, just be saying it? No. The Lord is about to give this back to us, man. We are remembering who we are in our captivity. Lord willing, you was edified. I pray this is an edifying video. Jake will shut it down because I know me, I get a passionate, I'm a passionate person. So I pray you was edified, man. Shout out to all the Akim, throttle for your precepts, man. Go back and watch this, and brothers, y'all can take it, man, and do your own video on it, man. That lady went in. I got another video I got another video that I got to do. I got another video of somebody else near-death experience, man. Lord willing, Lord, give me some time to get around to that one, man. But, hey, fire. It's your brother Ahmad from GMS Lake City, man. Pray he was edified. And then, hey, Shalom.